Way back in 1945, Japan lost their control over Korea following the end of the Second World War, and one of the first acts of the South Korean government was passing a law banning the imports of old Japanese media. Yep, Korea banned anime. So this meant that they were able to plagiarize whatever Japanese work they wanted with little to no consequence. And while the ban has since been lifted, there certainly was a lot of interesting stuff made during this period. One of these, of course, being Super Kid, whose inspirations may be a little bit more than obvious. Now, the Dragon Ball franchise is no stranger to bootlegs and Ripoff movies. Most notably, of course, being that bizarre live-action movie, which ironically is also Korean. And then, of course, there's Dragon Ball Evolution. Haha, very funny, you're all comedians. But lucky for me, I don't have to go it alone this time, because we're joined by a very special guest.
Hey, thanks, glad to be here. You know I love me some garbage. And pain. Oh Jesus, what have I gotten myself into?
Super Kid was only ever released on VHS in 1995, but luckily for us, I found it on YouTube courtesy of the channel Gokudari group.
There is a catch though. It's the dub. The movie takes place in 2023, which is, yeah, that's coming up pretty quickly. Look at all these cool things to look forward to, like working a 9-to-5 office job. But look at that! They got a phone that has a mind of its own! That's pretty quirky and unrealistic. Hey Siri, tell me a joke.
Why did the moon skip dinner? It was full.
Oh, you silly goose.
And it's this early on that we can already see that they've just swiped Akira Toriyama's whole art style.
You sleeping again?
Sometimes.
Well, we've just received an anonymous tip that the kidnappers have been spotted downtown, and they are face to face with the Super Kid.
Did he say Super Kid?
As the girl flies off to the story of a lifetime, we're given an introduction to each of the Super Kids. Hey, wait a minute.
Subject's name, Gokudari, leader of the Super Kids.
Oh boy, I wonder who that could be.
Really?
And wow, they did the red hair before it was cool. Toriyama clearly looked to Super Kid for inspiration when reviving Dragon Ball.
Subject's name, Big Boy, 13 years old.
They sure got super creative with the names here.
I assume this is Krillin on steroids? I'm a little confused as to why he's just 13 when Gokudari is supposed to be 200 years old.
Subject's name, Samachi, a space traveler from the Veda Star in the Double X Nebula.
Okay, now this is just getting weird.
Oh, he's kind of a creepy-looking alien, but I'd date him.
Piccolo, I guess? He's green.
Subject's name, Saint Tiul, 97 years old.
Okay, I'm beginning to think some of these aren't kids.
Subject's name, Rockpile, has a body made of stones.
What is that, a Ben 10 alien?
Subject's name, Gokji, secretary to the Super Kids.
Wow!
Subject's name, Chao, human, a skilled samurai warrior.
Oh, yep, here's our Yamcha.
So, that's the Super Kids, huh? They sure don't look like ordinary people.
Wow, no shit.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're coming to you live from the scene of the battle between two master criminals and the mysterious Super Kids. That octopus-like monster is none other than Wang Dochi, and that's his partner, Bazooka Joe.
I'm sorry. It's just very amusing that you have this untranslated Korean name for the villain, and then friggin' Bazooka Joe.
And yes, upon closer inspection, I can now see that Gokudari does in fact look over 200 years old.
Ah, you want a piece of me, old man? Come on!
Glad to see the exhilarating fight scenes have also been lifted straight from Dragon Ball.
You look good enough to eat.
Oh, okay.
Gokudari's gi isn't the only thing lifted from his Japanese counterpart, though.
It's magic. People they can throw.
That sadistic fuck is enjoying this. The rest of his team spend this time beating the ever-living shit out of Bazooka Joe.
Look out, you idiot!
Aww.
So our valiant heroes are captured, and little Goku is about to go Super Saiyan! That's it? Could you sound less enthused? You'd think little kids are the best at screaming their stupid little heads off.
And now for my secret weapon.
To finally put an end to this very lengthy confrontation, Gokudari reveals that he can trap people inside of his staff. Which, like, why didn't he just do that in the first place?
Though as he presents the man with the captured criminals, Gokudari actually refuses to hand them over until he gets financially compensated for it.
I believe there was some reward money.
Ah, yes, the reward money. How could I forget?
2001, 2002, 2003.
There's no need to count the money. It's all there. Trust me.
2004, 2005.
Right after they settle into their Ghostbusters-esque headquarters, they're immediately visited by the police chief with their next mission, which appears to be a little bit outside of their usual pay grade.
Excuse me, Captain, but what is that monster's name?
Perhaps you've heard of this criminal. His name is Budōkai.
Ah, did you say Budōkai? That monster is unstoppable, and you expect us to risk our lives to save your planet?
Yeah, isn't that kind of what you do? Beginning to think these guys are less heroes and more bounty hunters.
I assume there's a reward for the capture of Budōkai?
Yes, of course. I've got the reward money right here. $200,000 I scraped up from the police station.
For a criminal this tough, I usually charge more.
This kid is such an ass, oh my god.
We also find out that the team ship is a giant robot, which, okay, that's actually pretty awesome. From here, they end up on an alien planet in search of their target, only to find that it's full of fucking Mr. Burns aliens.
Okay, they're not even trying to be subtle about it anymore.
Why?
The green dude, who of course can speak alien, explains that the guy Gokdari just frickin' murdered belongs to a peaceful race of creatures who have been enslaved by the very same criminal they're looking for, whose name I'm not even gonna try and pronounce.
Oh, you mean that alien girl in the cage is gonna be a sacrificial offering to Budōkai?
Judogi?
Judo-gay?
Oh, and speak of the devil.
Budōkai, I'm placing you under arrest for crimes against the universe! Budōkai, we'll do whatever it takes to see that you're brought to justice for the crimes you've committed.
I can't get over how he simultaneously looks 5 and 50 at the same time. If there's one thing I'm not glad they ripped off from Dragon Ball, it's the fight scenes that take absolutely forever for anything to actually happen.
This movie has way too many slow scenes where nothing really happens. It's a lot of boring shots with no music or interesting sound effects. Like, man, at this point, I'm willing to even take some Johnny Test whip sound effects.
Before they can defeat him as slowly as possible, Jizdogi's partner appears.
Mario, get out of our way! This is official police business!
In the 10 years that passes during the ensuing battle, Judogi-O eventually gets bored and kidnaps the girl, and then pisses off before they can launch a very slow retaliation. Now with 2 objectives, it's finally justified for the Super Kids to have so many goddamn members, as Gokdari suggests they split up to take care of both at the same time. It's then revealed that the mastermind behind this whole thing is this other guy who we've only seen, like, once.
When the Super Kids return from the planet Ligel with Budōkai, I will destroy them all and become the most powerful criminal in the universe. I can't leave any witnesses, but allow me to introduce myself. My real name is Kagi. I'm placing you under arrest.
Damn it.
Luckily for the police chief, half of the Super Kids arrive to apprehend this new villain.
If that's the case, let me reward you.
Did they blend a cat to get that noise? Jesus Christ. How did Toriyama even think he could compete with this? Please make it stop!
Oh hey, look at that! A fight scene that's somewhat interesting. The giant red demon guy versus the Rock Man. It's my personal favorite fight in the movie. Not that it was a very high bar to begin with, but they tried to be creative with the Rock guy, getting his body pierced and destroyed. And it's also one of the rare moments that they actually use music. Let's see what musical masterpiece they chose to accompany this awesome fight. Bunny-ass music while he looks at the camera like, uh-oh.
After another agonizing minute of that fucking noise, Gokdari defeats him by just bullying him a lot.
How could you be so cruel? You scratched my antenna and now they're really sore.
The villains in this movie are just so formidable. Meanwhile, Big Chungus and Piccolo head off to find Judogi.
when they find the reporter Judogi is conveniently asleep, and yet they somehow find a way to wake him as they rescue her, because even that's too hard for them.
That didn't do a thing to him.
Just before something can actually happen in this movie, the others arrive in their giant robot ship and oh. Well, I didn't know this was gonna have a mech fight in it. Maybe I was too harsh on you, Super Kid. Unfortunately, that 5 seconds is all we get as they then go back to hitting him with sticks until he dies. As they're just about to gain the upper hand, Judogi assumes his final form.
And because you fools insist on doing good, it shall be my pleasure to end your pathetic lives.
But then, Judogi's partner appears once again and suddenly decides he doesn't want to be evil anymore. That, or he's just dying of boredom watching them take as slowly as humanly possible to kill each other. Oh boy, I sure can't wait for this epic battle. So then he... What the fuck?
Got it!
That's a Dragon Ball! Oh! And then he just dies.
Soon we will be together. I'm coming home, son.
I love that the Super Kids had absolutely no contribution to this whatsoever.
So then they kick the crap out of him while he's down.
And allow me to introduce you to one of the most useless transformations in any media.
Okay.
Just out of nowhere, he has the ability to also rip off adult Goku. And that only lasts until he throws a few punches and then he gets hit in the face. It wasn't even a powerful magic blast or anything. What was the point?
Only just suddenly remembering that he has an insta-kill weapon, Goknari then finally puts an end to things by shoving him into his staff.
In all my 199 years, I've never met a criminal like that. That was an incredible battle we fought against him.
Oh yeah, speak for yourself! I've never been so glad for a movie to be over before. Even the cast is tired of it.
I'm just glad it's over.
In the end, Goknari decides to give all of the reward money to an orphanage. Aw, well, that's nice. Maybe he's not so bad after all. Except that his entire team that also risked their lives to get that money now don't receive a single cent of compensation.
I mean, we have bills to pay, you know. There's the rent, of course, and the electrical bill, and a phone bill, and our salaries.
All we gotta do is capture a few more vicious criminals, and...
Okay, he's an asshole. So there we have it, Super Kid. That sure was... All in all, aside from a few character designs and that one attack that was just straight up Yamcha's Wolfang Fist, a lot of it really isn't lifted from Dragon Ball, in spite of it being touted as a Dragon Ball ripoff.
I mean, I don't remember Goku being this much of a sadistic lunatic.
Kakurus is afraid of these little guys. This is gonna be fun! Heads up, Kakurus!
I suppose someone in Korea was just a really big fan of Toriyama's art style and wanted to share it with their deprived country.
And this is to go even further beyond!
The fight scenes in this movie are really weird. It's as if someone said, hey, you know what this already not exciting fight scene needs? Less fighting! Instead, they're full of expository dialogue and explaining what we can already see. So in that sense, it's actually pretty faithful to Dragon Ball. When fighting actually does happen, it's at this very weird, slow pace. It's like a turn-based RPG that already has this slow and methodical pace. But after anything you do, you get this unskippable wall of text you gotta go through until it's the enemy's turn. That's 80% of this movie.
Upon doing my research, I also learned that originally a 52-episode animated series was supposed to follow on from the movie, but for all of our sakes was thankfully cancelled. After finishing the movie though, there's still one big question on my mind. Why did there need to be so many characters introduced as part of the team when nearly half of them were barely even in it? Maybe they would have been more important than the TV series? I don't know. And that's thankfully all I had to say about Super Kid. But I wanted to give a very special thank you to ConnerTheWaffle for joining me on this mistake of a video.
Well, we did it. And it's like anime legend Hayao Miyazaki said, anime was a mistake.
With that, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time.